Imagine a rainy night in San Francisco, 2007. Two roommates stare at a mountain of overdue rent notices. Their apartment is small, cramped, and yet an idea begins to form. Brian Chesky looks at Gebbia. Joe looks at Brian, and they think, what if strangers paid to sleep on our air mattresses? It seems absurd. Impossible, even. Yet, 3 air mattresses, a makeshift website, and $80 per night would ignite a revolution that no one saw coming. From airbeds to a $100 billion empire, Airbnb didn't just change travel. It changed the way people see trust, home, and belonging. How did 2 young designers with no experience in hotels build the largest hospitality company on earth without owning a single hotel? Airbnb's story begins with struggle. Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia were broke designers in San Francisco, a city with skyrocketing rents. They shared a tiny apartment, juggling freelance gigs just to make ends meet. Meanwhile, in October 2007, a massive design conference brought thousands of visitors to the city. Hotels were completely sold out, and for Brian and Joe, this was an opportunity, a lifeline. They inflated 3 air mattresses on their living room floor. They even made breakfast. They called it Airbed and breakfast. Their first guests, 3 complete strangers. This first experiment taught them an early lesson. People will pay to belong somewhere, not just for a bed, but for a story, for a human connection. They realized that every unused space in the city could be transformed into a hospitality experience. Enter Nathan Blecharczyk, a talented computer engineer and friend. Nathan joined as the 3rd co-founder and built the first version of the website. But the early days were brutal. Airbnb was rejected by investor after investor. One insight: people will never trust strangers with their homes. And yet, the founders persisted. Airbnb was far from an overnight success. In 2008, the company was still struggling to attract users. Brian, Joe, and Nathan took extreme measures to keep it alive. They sold limited edition cereal boxers called Obama OS and Kappa and McCain's during the presidential campaign. Believe it or not, these cereal boxers raised $30,000, just enough to keep the company afloat. Investors still said no, but the team kept refining their product. They realized the key was trust. How could you make strangers feel safe renting someone else's home or letting someone into yours? Airbnb began implementing a system of safety nets, verified profiles for hosts and guests, secure payment systems, and reviews and ratings for every single stay. Every transaction became a trust-building exercise, which would become Airbnb's very foundation. So how does it all work? Think of Airbnb as a digital marketplace for belonging. Hosts have space to spare. Guests need a place to stay. Airbnb connects them, much like Uber connects riders to drivers. But unlike Uber, the trust required is far more fragile. It involves someone's home, their valuables, and their privacy. Airbnb solved this with layered safety systems. Profile verification, where everyone had to provide identity details. Secure messaging, allowing hosts and guests to communicate without revealing personal information. And a powerful reviews and reputation system, which provided the social proof needed to build confidence. They even added insurance and guarantees, so hosts were protected against damage. By the early 2010s, Airbnb was already disrupting the entire hospitality industry. But its true genius wasn't just in renting out beds. It was in selling experiences. Suddenly, you could book tree houses in Costa Rica, castles in Europe, or tiny homes in the woods. They weren't just offering a place to sleep. They were offering a story, a lifestyle, and a memory you couldn't get anywhere else. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Airbnb's journey is also a story of crises and near. In 2011, a guest completely trashed a host's apartment. The media picked up the story, painting Airbnb as dangerous and untrustworthy. Then came the legal battles. Cities like New York, Barcelona, and Berlin started cracking down on the platform, accusing hosts of breaking housing laws. The hotel industry lobbied hard against them. Then, in 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Global travel collapsed overnight. Airbnb faced massive cancellations, and its revenue plummeted. The company was forced to lay off 25% of its workforce. It looked like the empire might finally fall. But Airbnb adapted with incredible speed. They shifted their focus to local stays. They promoted long-term rentals for the new wave of remote workers. They emphasized outdoor rural experiences away from crowded cities, and it worked. By the end of 2020, Airbnb was ready for its IPO, valued at an astonishing $100 billion. The cultural impact of Airbnb is impossible to ignore. It didn't just change travel, it reshaped society. For millions of hosts, a spare room or a guest house became a new source of income, turning them into But this also led to urban disruption. In cities like Barcelona and San Francisco, critics argued that Airbnb contributed to rising rents, pushing locals out of their own neighborhoods. The platform also forced the traditional hotel industry to innovate, pushing them towards more personalized experiences and flexible booking options. Most importantly, Airbnb created a global belonging movement. It allowed people to experience a city like a local, not just a tourist. Travel became more personal, more intimate, and more authentic. Behind this explosive growth was a brilliant business strategy. Airbnb combined clever growth hacking with the psychology of trust. They used the scarcity principle, with messages like "only one room left," to create urgency. They built credibility with social proof through countless reviews and ratings, and they fostered a sense of community by hosting events for both hosts and guests. All of this was fueled by billions in venture capital from firms like Sequoia Capital, allowing them to scale globally while maintaining a lean model. By 2015, Airbnb had over 2 million listings in 191 countries, had hosted over 100 million guests, and its revenue exceeded $1 billion. And the most incredible part, they still didn't own a single property. Of course, Airbnb's story isn't perfect. It's faced serious controversies. In major cities, it's been accused of accelerating the housing crisis, as long-term rental units disappeared from the market. Neighborhoods have complained about parties, noise, and safety issues from short-term renters. And studies have shown that some guests were denied bookings based on their race or nationality. Airbnb has responded with initiatives like anti-discrimination training and stronger community guidelines. Yet, critics argue that the company's model constantly has to balance innovation with these unintended and often negative consequences. Today, Airbnb is more than just rooms. It's an experiences platform where you can book cooking classes or guided tours. It offers luxury stays in villas and yachts. It caters to digital nomads with remote work retreats. Its valuation reflects a broader truth. Airbnb represents the economy of belonging. It proves that trust, connection, and human experience can be monetized at a massive scale. From 3 air mattresses to a multi-billion-dollar empire, the story of Airbnb teaches us that innovation is often born from necessity, that disruption is inevitable, and that trust is the most valuable currency in the modern world. Chesky said it best. If we tried to think of a good idea, we wouldn't have thought of Airbnb. You just have to have a problem you care about. The platform proves that even the smallest, most unconventional ideas can create global change. So here's a question for you. Would you let a stranger stay in your home? Or have you had a memorable experience using Airbnb? Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about trust, travel, and the future of belonging. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.